What can you tell us about the scrimmage?
Well, it was exciting to get those guys out there and to, put the ball on the ground and let them play. And there was a lot of good things. And coming out of the first scrimmage, there's definitely some stuff that we get to work on as we move forward here and preparing for the second scrimmage. We, it was good to see the offense be able to move the ball. The defense did a nice job, in the red zone and really with their backs against the wall, playing really well down there. But overall, the guys played very fast. It was good to see a bunch of guys make plays, both in the run game and in the pass game. Good to see a couple guys had some interceptions today too, taking the ball away. Shea Patterson had one down on the red zone, and then Milo Lopez had one early on in the scrimmage. So it's good to see the defense attacking the ball that way and creating explosive plays on that side of the ball, and as well as being able to see the offense take some shots down the field and again get chunks out at one time. There were some long play drives as well from the offense. There was drives, of 11, 10 plays, and so that's always a good thing. Obviously now as we move along, it's how do we capitalize and finish on those drives.
Any other individual standouts you can mention about?
There was a lot of guys played, obviously. In the first scrimmage, everybody's going to play. Everybody's going to get their work in. So it was good to see. There's a lot of young guys that got reps today too. So really liked the way the linebackers communicated today. DJ and Drew did a really nice job with the first team and making sure that we were lined up and we were situated. It's good to see them attack the line of scrimmage in the run game. Felt like the defensive front and really, the defense all together did a really good job in the run game today and working to create pressure on the quarterback.
Is there a special format to the scrimmage, or is it pretty similar to game, like time-wise and everything?
So in this first scrimmage, we don't go through the normal pregame operation that we would for a typical game. We use this first scrimmage to continue to work on fundamentals, certain things we need to still get in, special teams wise. So it was prior to scrimmaging and kicking off at 10 a.m., which we were simulating our 10 a.m. kickoff, we actually got a good 45 minutes worth of practice work, which is huge. Again, we are early on in the camp still, so it's huge to continue to develop and grow, and we need every opportunity to do that. And then from there was ones on ones, twos on twos for the majority of the day, and we were aiming to get be around 55, 60 reps, which we hit. So that's pretty good to see for the first scrimmage. That's a fair amount, and there was a little bit of fatigue at the end. It's not only the 55 reps, 60 reps that we're trying to hit within the scrimmage of open field play, special teams, and then obviously some situational stuff like some end of half, 2 minute and 2 minute, 4 minute, 2 minute at the end of the game, and then making sure too that we're hitting the field zones on the field. Sometimes we'll create those situations and put the ball down so that the team gets the opportunity to know and understand what it is and how to play those field zones.
You talk about those reps. I know it was so important for you to build the depth on the interior so you can get those reps. After 2 weeks, how big of a difference is it to have enough guys to get those reps?
Yeah, when you're looking to make sure on the practice plan, the time you have allowed to practice, to make sure that the whites, the third team gets their reps, that's a good thing. When you're making sure that those guys get their reps because they do something with those reps and we got to continue to develop them, that's a good thing. Those guys got a lot of work in today too. So to be able to have 3 units rolling today is huge. That's obviously, at this point it's about developing the whole team. It's not just the travel squad, the guys that are working to get on the travel squad, the freshmen that just got here. It's everybody. The more improvement each individual makes, the stronger the team gets, and obviously it takes playing the game. Yeah, you got to practice the fundamentals and techniques and teach the situations and teach the plays and how the plays apply to the situations, but ultimately you got to play the game to learn. And I feel like I told the team after the scrimmage, there is going to be plenty of stuff that we did well and we should be proud of things that we've done and where we're at, but there's also plenty of things that we get to learn from and improve on to be better in the next opportunity.
We heard in the spring a lot of offense, explosive plays from the offense. Whether it be today or just in general, how's the offense looking in terms of the explosive plays?
Yeah, there's been some plays coming in chunks. I would say that it's awesome to be able to see it go back and forth from the standpoint of the offense being able to create some explosive plays and then being able to see the defense respond. or you know what, being able to see the offense finish a drive after an explosive play if it didn't go the distance. That was cool to see today. There were some long drives that the Blues put together, and then we played it all the way out, all the way down into the low red zone, and the defense held up on a few of those, and the offense kicked field goals. Jonah was 2 for 2 today. Hey, speaking of Jonah, what's going on, brother? And Jonah did a real nice job today. Shout out to him as he heads out to lunch here. But he did a real nice job. Obviously, it's the field goal protection too that's at a premium that in situations like this really gets tested because we cut the guys loose.
How did you guys run the ball?
The defensive line did a solid job, like I said today. The defensive all together did a really good job. At the line of scrimmage, we, Talon ran the ball around a little bit as a quarterback today on some pass plays, and so obviously that adds into the rushing yards and stuff. But we definitely we can improve on what we did today in the run game in certain situations. Where obviously that's going to wear out the defense even more and allow us to keep the sticks moving.
Is it harder to teach and coach tackling today maybe than when you were playing? And these scrimmages, do they help you guys get an assessment of just like
it's a huge
fundamental tackling?
We're going to do it twice, 2 scrimmages that we're going to tackle in, and that's pretty much what par for the course these days in college football and what people are doing. And there will be a few other periods, throughout camp, like some short yardage periods where we'll tackle, but you got to really be dialed in the controlled environments of what you get to teach tackling and what you're doing and how you're doing it. Not only teaching the proper fundamentals and really teaching guys angles and body position and how they're going to deliver a punch when they tackle. But obviously there's still that component. I don't care what equipment you have or whatever, there's still the component of tackling another body. And so how do you get those things done without banging up your own team too much? And so you got to be very smart and keep creating these controlled settings where you can control tackling. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, the tackling today for the first scrimmage, it's probably the best we tackled spring and one of the better first scrimmages of tackling. So we by no means are there yet. I'll say that Ashton and George didn't get a lot of carries today, so that's different too. They got some and they got their work, but there's not a lot, so we got to be aware of that as well too. That when we're tackling guys like that and what comes along with that.
You mentioned Shea had caught an interception. Just how has he been looking in fall camp?
Yeah, Shea's stepped up huge in his role at the nickel position. That position allows us to do so much on defense. It's a critical component in terms of the different coverage structures that we ask that position to handle. What comes along in the run fits, what comes along in setting edges, being a blitzer that can be productive as well. And so there's a lot. It's a fun position, but it calls for a lot, not only physically but mentally as well. And he's done a good job. Up to this point, we're really excited about what he's going to be able to bring to the table.
I think a lot of people thought the offense would be further ahead than the defense just because of the guys we brought back and stuff. But it sounds like you're pretty impressed with the defense today. I don't know if you're willing to say which side won the scrimmage or was better, but do you feel like the defense is coming along maybe either faster than you'd hoped or they're where you want to be at this point?
It's the thing about this is you want to see it go back and forth, right? Whether it's in practice or in a scrimmage, you want to see one side of the ball create some explosives, and then how does the other side respond? That's the biggest part, but you want to see both sides doing it. If it's one-sided, that's not a good situation. And so today, again, the offense did some really good things. The offense pushed some tempo. They moved the ball down the field. Again, we had some long drives, and now it's playing some situational offense to be able to finish those drives off. Again, the defense. We told the whole team this. It's when we watch film, we're going to see that the defense gave up some yards today, but they really locked in and honed in when the ball got down into the red zone. And so it's the give and take on both sides right there. And again, we get the opportunity now to go improve on what we did well, obviously, and there's a ton that we did well, but also now we get a chance next week to start building on the things that we didn't do well in this first scrimmage.
Coach Janander was mentioning how his guys play are going to determine if it's going to be a 4-man or a 6-man rotation. You said you liked what you saw from the D line today. What's kind of impressed you these last 2 weeks about a group that has a lot of new faces?
Yeah, I mean, just they're going along with the work. I mean, it ain't easy to play that position, and so we got to train them a certain way. And that they've been open to, you know, going out there every single day and working hard, and it's not easy. Individual is going to be harder than it is in team periods, and there ain't, everybody on this team knows that, you know, that individual period for those D linemen is going to be really, really tough, and they've been awesome about not only being present and all that, but attacking it and having the willingness to learn. I mean, that's when you play in the trenches. There's a lot of mentality that goes into it, but you got to understand what you're doing too. There's every single play, it's a fight. So that's a big part of developing a defensive line, and the offensive line is making sure that we create an understanding of what that mentality looks like. And there's no way to gain that mentality but by doing the hard work to earn it.
Obviously, I mean, you coach hands-on sometimes, but it seems like these last 2 weeks we've noticed you a lot just one-on-one with the defensive line. Has that been an emphasis for you?
I don't, especially an individual, it gets boring standing around. So I usually try to find somewhere to go and help out. And by nature, that's, you know, what I've done in the past a lot. So in the last 2 years too, I've spent a lot of time with the defensive front and go down there though. And I mean, I move around throughout the building, whether it's in meetings and being able to sit in offensive meetings and sit in O-line meetings and listen to those guys, or go down and watch their individual, or go and help work a scout team look for our offense so that they get the best looks possible for our fronts, for our O-linemen, for the quarterback, for the center, for those guys identifying stuff and making sure that the guys over there working for them are getting a good look. So it's just, you know, finding pieces. But I will say individual is one of my favorite parts of the day.
Is CJ pushing Mad Dog? I mean, one of those two guys is one play away from running this offense. What's the QB2 looking like?
Yeah, I mean, those guys have done a nice job. They both had their days. They've both made, they've both been, you know, the good thing to see is they're both capable of running the offense. You know, you don't see like the hiccups of in the pre-snap of the operation and stuff like that. Now, again, like we talked about, that's a big piece too about getting a bunch of team reps, right? If we got 3 quarterbacks, you know, 4 quarterbacks, 5 quarterbacks, well, you got to get some team reps. Otherwise, those guys can't get better, because it's different. You can run 7-on-7 all day, but it's a whole lot different when you got an O-line, D-line sitting there in front of you. And so it's been good to see those guys. You know, Mad Dog, CJ's produced some explosive plays. Mad Dog's been very consistent with his accuracy, you know, working his way through the progressions as well as anybody.
A lot of times you'll have 5 scholarship quarterbacks, 1 every class or whatever, 4. I mean, I don't know if we've asked you this or not, but to only have 3, I mean, is there any concern about the depth there, or how do you look at
No, otherwise we would have got another one.
Okay.
Austin Bolt feels like he's having a pretty strong camp from what I've been able to see. How would you describe the camp that Bolt's having coming back from that injury?
Yeah, like we said when we first started, you know, he's working back into return to play. So he's doing a good job with that stuff, and we should be coming up here this week. You know, he should be involved more with it.
In, you know, 10 days in or whatever it is, I mean, who are a couple of guys that have caught your eye so far?
Oh man, it's a long list. Like, to be honest, and I'm not just saying that. It has been awesome. Like this has been one of the funnest camps that I've been involved in a long time, and it's because of the competitiveness and how the guys are working. Obviously, you're going to have your guys that are consistent. You count on every single day, you know, like DJ. But then you got a guy next to him now in Drew who is fulfilling and earning his spot, and he's been productive in making plays, whether it's in his run fits or he's really good as a 3-phase linebacker, as a dropper, a blitzer, and a run fitter. And so it's been good to see him. Really like to see, you know, the corners have been battling. We've got some length and speed on the outside, so those matchups with the corners on the perimeters and our wide receivers with the EMAC, you know, whether it's EMAC on Markel or EMAC, you know, JC, he's done a really good job, and Marion is coming on, like so like those 4 guys right there battling the wide receivers, Billy, you know, taking that on, Prince, all those guys. It's been awesome to see these one-on-one matchups on the outside through the vertical pass game. And then, you know, we already talked about the D-line. I mean, it's a host of guys. You just say collectively as a whole group from the defensive line. Those guys are improving. We got a lot of work left to do, but iron sharpens iron. I mean, those guys have no choice but to work hard in terms of the D-line, to work hard and get better every day, because the O-line, I mean, our O-line, we're excited about where they're at. They've done a tremendous job. in terms of building an understanding of what it is that we want to get done in the run game, and then working to, be able to provide a pocket so we can be explosive in the pass game, because all these explosive passes starts with protections and things like that. So, the running back room, it's fun when you got to manage, all those touches and making sure everybody's getting the rock. That's a great problem to have, and it's been really cool to see, how Bush has done it in different ways.
I know the second scrimmage is more where you set the depth chart and stuff, but what's, for me, fans or people just don't know, what's the point of the first scrimmage, and what do you get out of this that you're moving forward for the next week or two, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, all along we're setting it, and we're constantly, like, competition is the best thing. I can't think that, I'm a starter and show up here and not be an elite worker, you're going to get passed up. That's what recruiting does. That's what college football is. I mean, we got a roster full of guys who are hungry and want to contribute. And so here in the first week, it's really a week and a half, right, before the first scrimmage. Number one, it's getting used to being back in the gear, because we haven't been in the gear since the springtime. It's getting used to, playing the position with that gear on, getting the timing down of each individual position, whether it's coming off the ball as a defensive lineman and your footwork and striking and being in the right position, or a wide receiver and your releases, and the right proper amount of steps and the depths on routes and all those things. And so today was really about this, is working on our preparation from not only the first week and a half, but really locking in the last couple of days of what it looks like to get yourself ready for a game. We get 3 opportunities to do that before we play our first game. So working to earn the confidence that's going to give you the trust in yourself to operate, to compete, to win your one-on-ones, and then being able to go out there and do that. And I'll be honest with you guys, like we didn't have a lot of stray bullets today, and what I mean by that is the guys just going rogue and just running around out there. That was awesome to see. That shows a sign of maturity within our team. That shows a sign that we can play fast, we can play physical, but we can play with the proper fundamentals and technique, and that's really what the first scrimmage is about. It's about to find out where we are with tackling. It's about to find out, how we are in the pre-snap and how we can operate. Now, we've been working the play clock the last few periods. That's a big deal. You don't really put the play clock on the offense early on in camp, but to be able to handle that, it's about to see how can we handle our ball security, how can we take the ball, all those critical components that obviously contribute to being successful.
I don't know if you'd be willing to share, but was there a big moment today in the scrimmage where it really got a reaction from players and coaches?
Yeah, so there were some big catches. Obviously, the 2 interceptions, the defense, everybody in the stadium. If you weren't in the stadium, you can hear them outside of the stadium. It was cool to see, when Shea and Milo made those interceptions, Shea was standing in the end zone and made a play. I mean, that's how far we were deep into the red zone. So that was awesome to see. There was a couple long pass plays. Billy did a nice job. Billy had an explosive play on a pass. T. Crow had a huge conversion out of the backfield on a 3rd and long situation that was really cool to see, where the coverage held and TG worked the progression and got it all the way back down to the tailback, and he was able to, again, in a long situation, convert there. So, it was good to see the ball getting pushed down the field. There's been plenty of those opportunities throughout fall camp, and we just got to continue to work those. We also had some where DBs made nice plays today too, and so the thing that we want to continue to see is it goes back and forth, especially in these one-on-one situations where the explosive plays on the perimeter. That's what they really come down to. The guys need to get used to what that feels like and how they finish, whether you're a wide receiver going up and getting the ball and finishing, or whether you're a DB, at the top of the route and not panicking and grabbing onto a wide receiver and being able to finish on the ball.
How do you, Scott Matlock's playing an NFL game tonight. J.L. Skinner played last night. I know you don't sit down and get your popcorn ready, but what's the buzz like here in the Blameyer? Every kid in that room wants to play in the NFL, and
No, we all know though. We all know.
How do you handle it?
Just because they're not here, and we got a lot of stuff going on. Trust me, we were here till 10:30 tonight, not getting ready, or last night, not getting ready for today, but getting ready for Monday. Just because we're out in front, but I want to see JL play. So it was nice to catch the end of the game last night. Again, it's nice to we're gonna send our guys a text. We don't stop thinking about them, and so. That's why you see our alumni come out to practice and are at scrimmages and stuff like that. So we're fired up to see Scotty and David Moa play tonight. There's a few guys playing tonight. So it's exciting. It's motivation for our players, you know. Scotty did things in an elite way here. I mean, we still go back to this film to teach defensive front stuff. And until someone puts better film down, we're going to keep going back to it. So that's the motivation and encouragement. And obviously, we'll all be here cheering and rooting for all the guys that are playing today.
Anything else?